Hello, YouTube fam. How y'all doing? It's your Uncle Tim. This is Uncle Tim Rants and Reviews, a channel where I rant and I review. I'm your host, Uncle Tim. A lot of you all ask me, how could you tell, Unc, that we are in a recession? How could you tell? I still see people going on trips. I still see people flying on planes. I still see people buying new cars. I still see people buying houses. Have you noticed something? You have seen a lot of people not spending their money. A lot of people are spending credit. Houses, a lot of these homes, they're going back to no money down. Then you got cars where there's no money down. A lot of people putting trips on layaways and paying with credit. They have these new apps where, you got Klarna and there's two others. I did a whole video on this saying how people are paying for trips now. And, a lot of people are still believing that people somehow, somewhere got it better. Some people, ain't no lie, do have deep pockets. And you know what? I can't be mad at them. I cannot fault them for having good jobs, saving money, prioritizing what they think is important to them. I can't get mad at that. But I do want you to take a look at it. When you start seeing regular people not spending money, regular people, see, that's what the economy needs to actually survive. When regular people are not spending their money, something is funny. When you see regular people removing money from the bank, there is something going on. They're not removing all their money, but they're removing just enough. If some shit go wrong, they have cash on hand. And I know you saying, hey, Unc, but if something go wrong, money will be worthless. No, it's not. Who told you that? Money is still going to be the same thing, valuable. Money will still be traded just like money will be traded. As many societies that have fallen, money is still money. And I want you to think about this as we go forward. Start looking at why you have McDonald's, Wendy's, Subway, Burger King, Walmart's, Target's, J.C. Penney's, Kohl's, and these other stores alike, Walgreens, CVS. Why are they closing stores? Jewels, all of these places closing stores. Ask yourself why. Even Costco closed a couple of locations. Sam's Club closed a couple of locations. Why? Because people are not spending like they used to. When you go out now, people are not going overboard anymore. Like when you go out to a restaurant, people ain't ordering the whole menu up like they used to. Like you order the appetizers, you order your main course. Your date, they order appetizer, they order their main course. No, a lot of people now, shit, they used to order drinks, you got 2 or 3 drinks among y'all, and you sitting here thinking, oh yeah, the bill, it comes 140, 120, sometimes, shit, I never did nothing like that. Don't get me wrong. I don't go out like that. I don't know where people go and do this shit at, but I'm not one of those. My thing is, a lot of people now, they go out. If they go out in a group, each one of them will get an appetizer. And out of that person that's getting appetizers, everybody take a taste of what the other person had got. This is how people do shit now. They're not going getting main courses, main meals. A lot of people are not even drinking alcoholic beverages anymore. They're drinking sugary drinks. Some of them just getting water and asking for slices of lemon. And what they do is they put the lemon in the water, they squeeze the lemon into the water, and they pour like sugar in it. And they make their own lemonade. Dude, a lot of people are not spending money. They go to places like Olive Garden and get the never-ending pasta bowl or something. Then, they already got the soup and, the salad, bowl where it's never-ending. They got this stuff going on. People are going to places getting deals. They're not trying to go out and break the bank. If you go to your favorite place, if you do go to McDonald's, a lot of people ain't getting the most expensive meal. They're getting the cheaper meals. Anytime you see grown-ass men with a Happy Meal, and you be like, he must really want that toy for his kid, or this must be for his kids. No, he's getting a Happy Meal for his damn self. He's like, look, I'm going in here and I'm going to get some cheap shit. You go get your nuggets, you get your little burger, your 3 for $7s at your Burger Kings, man. It's about winning. It's not about losing, bro. People are opting out of getting car notes. So this is why you see a lot of used car dealerships closing, because see, a lot of people will buy used cars. They trying to keep you away from used cars now. You got a lot of these major car lots buying used car dealerships to get rid of them, to get you to come in there and buy these expensive ass cars. And people are staying away. You have so much inventory on cars now. Remember during the pandemic, there was no inventory because they sold off all the cars the dealership had because they had no use for them if nobody was buying. But now you got a ton of cars and nobody's buying. You got a ton of homes, nobody's buying. At first people were losing their minds to buy homes because they were like, man, this is the thing to do. I hear, I should have a home at this point in time in my life, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make sure that I'm doing everything right. I want to make sure that everybody's on board with what I'm doing. And guess what? You start paying attention. You start looking around. Before you get into that home, make sure a home is more than a mortgage, right? It's more than the mortgage and the utilities and the property tax and insurance, because the property tax and insurance is included in your mortgage. You know what I mean? If you have a home, you know exactly where I'm going with this. But all these other extra things, you got to make sure you understand. At any given time, catastrophe could strike, man, and you got to have, that rainy day fund. And, some people, they're not here for that. Some people like, look, I'm not trying to own anything. I could barely take care of myself. And, I'm hearing a lot of adults saying, I don't understand how the older generation did it. And, a lot of them understood that we weren't making that much of money. Back then, people think you was making $10 an hour back then, and you was making damn near $4 an hour, like 75 cents over minimum wage. And, shit. Hell, in my younger years, in my early 20s, 19s and 18s, I wasn't making good money. I was just making above minimum wage, just about probably $1 above. And just had to make that work, bro. I had to work jobs that I could until I got my shit together. And this is what I'm pushing to you now. I think the younger generation see it now. This is all a trap. This is a way to get you in debt. See, this is what this college situation is. This is why they are removing certain professions, from the degree list. Because you had a lot of people going into these and actually winning. So they're taking nursing off and they're taking teaching off. So all of a sudden, you don't have a lot of people not wanting to be teachers and nurses anymore. So what the fuck are you going to do then? But see, people make it seem like, somehow we winning. We're not winning right now. If you really pay attention, there's nothing here that you could look at and say we won. What have we won? Everything right now is a hot ass mess. Hell, they went up on a bus fare. The gas prices around my house is ridiculous. I seen somebody where they had like $1.99 gas. I said, where the hell is that at? Shit, I said, they probably had people moving there just in groves. But I'm going to tell you something. The whole United States is having issues right now. People are having issues finding jobs. I see people crashing out. I was listening to this guy on the train. He was talking to this other guy, and he said, man, I've been on 5 damn interviews. And each time that I get there, man, they saying they going with another person. He's, and I'm looking at the guy, there ain't shit wrong with him. But he's a little bit older. He has experience. He has all this. He has the credentials, the degrees. Guess what? They want to hire somebody that they could pay. If he's, I'm just going to throw a number out there, with all this, man, and I'm saying if it's a high degree field and all of that, you might want $100,000. They don't get somebody out of college where they probably could pay $30,000 to. They're not trying to pay people to do jobs. And what I told you about in Florida, where they talking about the NDA, whereas you cannot work at this place. We made you sign this saying that you could only work for us, for this amount of time. And, when you leave, you got 6 months, to a year to be at this field. You can't work for anybody else. They're making it 5 years now. They're making sure you stay at these low earning jobs. And this is Florida. And as you see, Florida is the foreclosure capital of the damn world right now. Record numbers, all of that inventory on hand. This is why they're trying to do the 50-year mortgage, to try to clear that inventory. Nobody budging right now. Nobody making good money to say they want to sit down and settle down with a damn house anymore. People who made all those damn decisions, those costly decisions years before, like last year and the year before that one, spending $50,000 to $100,000 to get a damn house because it was a seller's market at one point in time, when all those private equity firms were buying in. I said, that's a bad idea. This shit about to go left quick. And yes, it did. It went left. Because anytime you got, private equity firms trying to get in, what they're going to do is they're going to try to buy up everything. And they're going to try to take it over. Once they take it over, you start realizing, all of this inventory. I'm looking up and down the street. I have seen the same home for sale for the last, year now? Not every home sells. A lot of homes have issues. A lot of people looking at Chicago and looking at the property tax and like, no, this is not good. Then you look outside of Chicago and you look at the property tax out there. It's not good either. Dude, property tax is going up every damn where. What you gonna do now? See, a lot of things that we look at, we make it seem like there's something else going on. There's some other issue going on that we're not really seeing. The true issue that's going on that you're not seeing is you wanted it all. Now, all of a sudden, you got it. You got millionaires and billionaires just taking over. They wanted to be in control of everything. Now they are. And now people are just like, shit, you can have it. Now they sitting there like, wait, ain't you gonna buy these new cars that we got? Dude, I was telling a friend not to buy this car. Damn car is $96,000. Ford F-150. That's just the damn sticker price. I said, what do it do for $100,000? I said, I never seen a Ford F-150 cost $100,000. What the hell are we doing? I said, is this something different just for this lot or what's going on? I said, because in actuality, you would need 10 years to try to pay this fucker off. To at least have something reasonable as a note. I said, hell, this is not a Lamborghini, a Corvette, a Ferrari, or a Porsche. This is a Ford. And this is not a top-of-the-line exotic Ford, like one of them hypercars. This is just some bullshit that you just sitting here thinking like, I'm going to use this to haul shit. And I'm about to pay $200,000 for this? Nah, because after fully loaded and everything you want on it, it's going to cost, bro. And plus, all these new features, they no longer come with the car. They all like add-ons now, whereas you got to get monthly services for this stuff now. You remember like how back when we first started with the iPhone and, the iPad and the Androids and all that. You remember how they had apps? Like they had the Street Fighter app where you could fight. Back in the day, it costed like $2.99. That was it. You just fought. You had Dragon Ball Z for $3.99 and you fought on your phone, on your iPad. Now every app you got has some sort of in-app purchase, whereas they're trying to make more money off you. Like I told you, I was playing this mobile game. And it got so much. It got to be so overwhelming. They made it so hard to do everything that I was just like, this ain't even worth it no more. It was taking over a lot of my time, and I just got frustrated, and I just deleted it. Just said, hell with it. I'm like, yeah, I lost some money. I played for like 6 to 8 months, but hell, sometimes you just got to let shit go, man. It's a little too much. People doing too much. And right now, you got to see where you fit in with everything. But with that being said, fam, thank you for watching. Peace out.